So y'all are probably just starting out, with this profession, and doing plays and hopefully in some classes maybe. I know you're getting a lot of experience with the theater company. But yeah, I just wanted to hop on here today and kind of tell you a little bit about my journey as an actor and singer, and the process that I've gone through and my times here in Hollywood and what it's like. It's different for everybody, but there are some things that stay pretty consistent. So basically, I'll just kind of give you my backstory a little bit, and then, we can open it up for questions. If you guys have any questions at the end, we can, I'm happy to answer any questions y'all have. But my name is Robert Palmer Watkins is my stage name because Robert Watkins was taken by the union. So I'm going by my full name, which annoys a lot of people. But I grew up in North Carolina until I was about 12 years old, and then my dad got a new job and we moved to Richmond, Virginia. And Richmond was the downtown fan area was a very artsy scene. There was a lot of theater, a lot of art, a lot more opportunity for artists. And in high school, my English teacher actually convinced me to try out for the play because they really, really needed guys for the play. And I was like, I don't know, I'm the new kid, like, I'm already getting bullied. Like, nobody likes me already. I'm brand new from North Carolina. I don't know if the play is the smartest move. But she definitely saw something in me that, she knew that I would love it. I was always drawing. I was always creative. I was always trying to make people laugh. And I was just a goofball. So if you're a weirdo out there and you're a misfit, there's hope. But basically, my English teacher convinced me to try out for the play. I reluctantly tried out. I did it. It was called Don't Drink the Water by Neil Simon. And as soon as I walked on stage that first opening night with that live audience, I mean, there's really, most of y'all probably know what I'm talking about, being in front of an audience and getting to share that moment with them and share art with them, and that energy that's going back and forth is pretty indescribable, really. So I walked off that stage that night, and I just knew that this is something that I wanted to pursue. I knew that lit me up more than anything I had ever experienced before. I just really enjoyed making people, like, getting to make people feel something or laugh or cry or just escape their lives and just enjoy the moment. I think that's, I was just like, this is really special. So then I had to get good at it, which has been the process, and I'm still working on it. But I continued to do the plays throughout high school. That was my sophomore year. I did that first play. But I continued to do the plays my sophomore, junior, and senior year. And I was even talked into doing the musicals. So I started doing the musicals, and I actually booked the lead in South Pacific, playing Emile DeBeck. And then I got the lead in our Barksdale Community Theater Company in their production of Grease, and I played Danny. And I loved it. And I've always loved singing and music, but I never really developed my voice. My little sister was a great singer, and I was always told that I was not a good singer and I should not sing. But I was becoming a good actor, so my family was supportive of that. But then I booked the lead in the musical, and they really worked with me and developed my voice. And I guess I had enough potential that they were able to get me there, and I loved it. And so then I actually got talked into joining the guys' choir in high school as well. And yeah, I just became a full-on art nerd. And the people that I met in that circle of friends, I just loved it. There were so many different types of people. We were all kind of, artsy and weirdos, and there was no, everybody was different, basically. And I've always liked to be around all different types of people. And then coming together to create something, a play or a musical, all coming together, you have to all rely on each other, kind of like a sports team. You're only as strong as your weakest link, really. I mean, you're up there on stage together and you got to pull it off. So I just loved the camaraderie of it. I kept doing it. And then I got to my senior year and I was like, okay, well, where do I move to New York or do I move to LA? I knew that I wanted to eventually transition into TV and film. I knew that that was my goal. I grew up loving Jim Carrey and Saturday Night Live, and I wanted to get out and do TV and film, but I didn't really know if I should go to a college or a conservatory. or just move to the city and just start taking some acting classes. And, you know, but my mom and my dad were really just kind of worried. I mean, they believed in me. They definitely supported my decision to go do this, but they, you know, as parents do, they definitely wanted me to get a degree in some type of formal education. So I actually went to Christopher Newport University in Virginia for a year and a half, majoring in musical theater, because I figured, why not do musical theater if you're getting acting and music, and why not be a triple threat, right? So I did that for a year and a half, and I loved it. It was an amazing program, an amazing theater program, but I was feeling the itch to get to New York or LA. I just knew, you know, I was 21, I was ready. I wasn't ready, but I felt the pull to move to one of the cities and just start doing it, you know? And I talked to my parents and they said, okay, we support you. If you go to one of those cities, though, we really encourage you to go to get some type of like training out there, some type of schooling. Even if you don't get a degree, you know, just go, please start in some type of schooling. And my mom happened to see a flyer for AMDA, the American Musical and Dramatic Academy. So I took the train up to New York. I auditioned for AMDA. Luckily, I got accepted. And then I got to decide, because AMDA has a New York campus and they have a Los Angeles campus. And I knew that, well, one, I don't know if I can do the cold in New York. I wanted to be in California because the beach and the warm weather, but I also knew that California, Hollywood, is kind of the mecca for TV and film. I mean, there's a lot of that in New York as well, but New York is a lot more theater, whereas LA is a lot more TV and film. So I said, okay, well, I think I'm going to go to AMDA. I'm going to go to the AMDA campus in Los Angeles. So packed up my bags, 21 years old, moved to Los Angeles. Jackie moved there the same time I did. And it was great. I mean, I was there for two and a half years. I did the acting program. I actually started in the musical theater program, and then I switched over to the acting program because I realized that my focus, I really was more passionate about pursuing TV and film. And the musical theater program was a lot of dance and singing, which is awesome. And I do love that stuff, but I didn't see myself going and pursuing Broadway at the start. I do want to do that at some point, but I really wanted to focus on TV and film. So I switched to the acting program. And then I, you know, graduated. And I think, you know, anybody out there, I don't know if there's any parents on here right now watching, but I think it is really important to, you know, if your kid is showing interest in this, get them in a class, even if they're still young, get them in a class, see if they really like it, you know, and if they do end up loving it and continuing to do it throughout high school or whatever, then I would definitely encourage you to have, you know, I think it's important to find a home base. You know, I think me being a kid from North Carolina, Virginia, if I would have just moved to Los Angeles without some type of training program or home base, you know, a network, a family, I think I could have gotten lost. I think I would have figured it out because I'm pretty stubborn when I want something, and I definitely want to make it in this industry. But it would have, I think it really was helpful to class and meet other kids that were coming here for the first time, and we knew nothing. We didn't have a car. We didn't know how to get around Hollywood. You know, we're all kind of stumbling through this together. So it was kind of cool, and that's why I've stayed so close with some of my AMDA friends, because we really went through moving from our hometown to Hollywood or to New York where the other campuses are, you know, and you definitely bond with people. So yeah, I graduated. I was pretty lucky to get a manager right away and a commercial agent. It took me a long time to find a theatrical agent. So the differences between those things are, just in case you guys are confused about that. A manager is somebody that most likely you're going to have more of a personal relationship with. It's going to be a longer term relationship, and they're going to help you with more like long-term career stuff. You know, what do we want your branding to look like? What do we want your head? You know, we need new headshots. We need to make sure your reel is up to date. You're staying in touch with them about, you know, let's say you book a TV show and you've got a fan event coming up. They're going to help you arrange that. They're going to go over your contracts and make sure you're being taken care of in your hotel and all that stuff. So it's really a friendship and just somebody really like mentoring and looking out for you. They also, you know, sometimes will submit you for auditions just like an agent will. And then a commercial agent is they are basically submitting you for commercial auditions, maybe print auditions, and you might become close with them, you might not, you know? And then a theatrical agent is somebody who's just submitting you for TV, film, theater, whatever it might be, acting roles. And you might become really close with them too. I'm close with my agent and my manager. I lucked out. But it's not always the case. So yeah, I lucked out right away. I got a manager, I got a commercial agent. So that was going well, you know, and for a couple years there, right after college, I did a few short films. I did a few little roles on TV here and there. But I was just really scrapping by, you know, and I was working every job. I've worked every job under the sun to just stay afloat out here, from waiting tables to valet parking cars to dog walking to bartending to, I mean, you name it, I've done it. But I was, you know, I was getting little roles, enough to keep me excited and hungry. In 2015, so 7 years later, I booked, you know, throughout that time, I booked a few movies, and booked a movie that shot in South Africa called Safari. And, you know, I was getting some cooler stuff, some bigger stuff. But 2015 is really when I kind of got something that was pretty substantial and kind of helped break me into the industry a little bit as a name, I guess you could say. I don't even know what that means, but they say that. But I booked a role on General Hospital, playing Dillon Quartermaine. It was a contract role, so it was one of the lead roles on the show, and it was just it was amazing. I mean, I'd been really, really grinding for 7 years out here, you know, and just like I said, you know, I've lived out of my car, I've lived on people's couches, I've moved to so many different apartments, but I stuck it out. And I remember, like, a month before I booked General Hospital, my car broke down on the side of the freeway, because I didn't have enough money to get the oil changed, and the hood was literally smoking, and I had to push it to a mechanic, and they came out and they said, your car's gone, man. You blew the engine. And I just remember feeling like that was the only thing I had, like, that was mine, you know? It was the only thing. I was like, at least I got a car. I can get to my auditions. I can get to my job. At least I got a car. And, when it blew up, basically, I just broke down. I called my family and I was like, guys, like, I don't know what to do. I'm not giving up, but I don't know what else to do. Like, I was in every acting class around LA. I was doing the commercial workshops. So not to scare y'all, but it does take commitment. You got to really want it, and you got to be willing to stick it out. And you got to love it. Make sure you love it if you're going to come pursue this, because it ain't easy. But so my family said no. Luckily, my mom was able to help me out, and she sold me her old car. I paid her off once I got on General Hospital. But a month after that, they said, no, you're not coming back. We believe in you. You're meant to do this, which is amazing. Such a supportive family. But they said, you're meant to do this. So I stuck it out. I got through. You know, I guess I don't even know how I got to work that month. I think I was taking the bus that month until my mom gave me her car. But a month later, I booked General Hospital, a 4-year contract, playing Dillon. So things can turn around really quick, you know, but you got to be willing to put in the work, and you got to stick it out and just stay positive and have faith, you know, believe in yourself too. You know, a lot of people are going to say, this is a crazy career and it's risky and it's competitive, and, oh, you should really do something else. But if you want to do this, if you love this, then you got to do it, because you'll always look back and say, what if you don't? So yeah, I booked General Hospital, got off that show a few years ago. I have done a few movies since then, an action movie called Last 3 Days that I'm the lead in. It's streaming on like all the different platforms if you want to check it out. Shameless plug. And then recently I was on The Walking Dead, the new Walking Dead spinoff called Walking Dead World Beyond. So I'm going to be in a bunch of episodes this coming season 2 of that on AMC. So things are good, and I'm doing music now, which is really exciting. So all that music training, you know, and that's what's funny too. Here's another good point that I just thought of talking about that. You know, music I just kind of fell into through acting, and developed that skill because they needed a guy for the musical or whatever, or they needed a guy for chorus. And I loved it. I started to really love music. But because I started to develop that skill, now here I am later on in life, like really excited about my music stuff. I've got a bunch of music coming out, original music coming out, and it all came from, you know, the stuff I learned when I started acting. So just remember that as you're working on different jobs or you're doing different plays or productions, you never know what you're going to learn or what skill you're going to love and take with you and use it later on in life. Yeah. So I think that's pretty much what I got to say. I feel like I just rambled for 3 hours, but I would love to answer any of y'all's questions if anybody has any. Thanks for listening to me talk about my life. Jackie? View request. Mom. How do you prepare for a role? So, you know, I think I grew up doing theater like you guys, which is great training, by the way. That is the best training, whether it's you're doing musical theater or plays or whatever. I think being on stage, releasing those nerves, you know, reading scripts, having that amount of time to rehearse for a show. What's cool about live theater versus TV and film is you usually get a lot longer time to prepare for live theater. I'm not saying it's not stressful. It can be very stressful, and you can be down to the wire trying to get the rehearsals ready for opening night. But you typically get weeks or even sometimes a couple months to, you know, really hash out the characters and work on the lines and run through the scenes and play with it different ways. Whereas on TV and film, you're lucky if you get some rehearsal time. I mean, there's times where you walk on the set and you might get to run the lines a few times. You know, if you've got a good director or a good, if you got a good director or the writers on set maybe, or a good scene partner, you know, maybe you'll get together beforehand and you'll rehearse a little bit. But you got to kind of come prepared, and it's a lot quicker on screen. So I guess my point is, growing up doing theater, I really love that. I love the process of the rehearsal. I love to like find things within the lines and within the scripts, and I love to run the lines with my scene partner. I love the conversations with the director, and I like to play with it different ways. So I've had to learn for TV and film. I've had to learn how to adapt a little bit, because coming from theater to TV and film, it's quick, you know, and sometimes they'll change a whole scene on you the same day and you got to go shoot it in an hour, and you got to just kind of adapt. So it depends on the role, you know. I think I prepare by rehearsing and running it with my partner and director and playing with it different ways. And for TV and film, I prepare the best I can. Basically, you hope that they give you weeks, or, you know, and you hope that you get rehearsal time, but it's not always the case. And it's also different for every role. You know, when I was on a soap opera, that moves so fast. You get one blocking rehearsal and then you film it, and they have all the cameras set up, so you do the scene once, almost like a sitcom. And that was, you know, preparing for that was just, I got to make sure I know my lines in and out, because we get one shot. And if they change a line on you the day of, you know, then you got to be able to adapt or improvise. So that was that preparing process was quick. You know, you get your scene a day or two before. For the movie Last 3 Days, you know, I got that script months before. I was able to really, you know, develop that character and rehearse with the director and my lead, you know, my scene partners and my co-stars. So I really got a lot of time on that. Now, once we started shooting, it was very quick, and we didn't have a ton of time. We shot that movie in like 30 days, and it was, you know, 12-hour days. And if I was rehearsing, it was me pulling an actor to the side and us kind of running the lines. But our director was great. Brian Ulrich was really, really good at making sure we understood the scenes. But yeah, I mean, it's different for every role. Your new song, Clean Cut, is dope. What is the song about? Clean Cut. Thank you. Yeah, I have a new song out called Clean Cut. My music name is Palmer, by the way, in case anybody was wondering. I kept it shorter than my acting name. My first song is called Waiting. It came out last month. And my new song, Clean Cut, just came out yesterday. So if y'all want to check me out on Spotify or Apple or whatever, those songs are both out. But Clean Cut came out yesterday, and it's basically, it actually kind of relates to the industry. So I'm glad you asked that question. Obviously, I'm a pretty clean cut guy, right? Pretty clean cut, pretty all-American guy next door, which is fine. That's great, and there's a place for that. You know, there's a place for all different types of actors and artists in the industry. But I've been out here for 14 years, and I've been told so many times who I am, who I should look like, how I should have my hair. Oh, you're the pretty boy. We need you to look like this, or you're this, and we need you to do this. Everybody has an opinion, you know? And at the end of the day, you kind of just got to trust yourself. I mean, listen to people, learn from people, grow from what people are saying. But sometimes you really got to just do you, because nobody knows you the way you do. And nobody's going to, you know, most people, they don't even understand themselves. So for somebody to tell you who you are, you just got to eventually go, okay, cool. I took all that in, but I'm going to do my own thing. So Clean Cut is a song that I wrote about how, yeah, I'm clean cut. I'm a clean cut dude, but I also cut up. The lyrics are, I'm clean cut, but I cut up. Don't get caught up. So, I mean, most people wouldn't realize that in between my fancy Instagram life and filming movies and TV shows, I'm still hustling. I'm not at a point yet where I don't have to have a side job. You know, there's times throughout the pandemic I had to go drive Lyft, you know, to make sure I could eat. So it's not always this clean cut image we put on social media and all these platforms where our life is perfect and we have filters on our faces and the perfect breakfast. And I just wanted to talk about that. You know, I'm clean cut, yes, but I also cut up, and I also am wild, and I've made a bunch of mistakes in my life, and I'm from the country and driving your Lyft for all you know. So life's not all perfect, you know? What's your tip to nailing an audition? Man, I mean, every audition is different. I think that the one thing I can say consistently for auditions would be, you know, believe in yourself, go in there with confidence. Don't be cocky. Don't be arrogant. Be kind, be humble, you know, acknowledge the casting directors or whoever's in the room, but be confident that you're there for a reason. You're grateful to be there, but they're also grateful to have you, I think, is the way you have to walk into an audition room. And then I think also going in, you want to go in friendly and yourself, but you also kind of want to, you know, I think, have a little bit of the energy of whatever character you're about to play. You know, you don't want to walk in as the character. Don't do that. But, you know, try to, you know, let them see that, oh, wow, okay, they could play this person. And then kill your audition. Know your lines. Yes, you can hold your script, but have your lines memorized. Because then you can really play. Then you can really act. If you're looking down, you're not going to book the role, most likely, you know. So know your lines for sure. And then, you know, be friendly and polite and yourself. But if they don't ask you any questions and, you know, they're not asking you to stick around, get out of the room. Don't sit there and try to be best friends with them and shake everybody's hand and hug everybody. They don't have time. They're seeing hundreds of other people. Where do you hope to see your career in 5 years? I really want to be a series reg on a show. I think that'd be amazing, and I'd love it. I'd love for the show to be, I mean, I think TV right now is so good. I can't even keep up with the amount of awesome TV that's being made right now. I'd also, you know, I'd love to be a lead in a few more movies, and I'd love for my music to blow up. I'd love to tour with my music. I would love for the show that I'm working on right now called Tub Life. It's a comedy that we wrote and we're creating and pitching to networks. I would love for that show to blow up because I created it and I'm one of the leads in it. So I think it's special when you do something, you create something that's yours. You know, my music feels like mine. this Tub Life show that we're making feels like mine. I'm so grateful for all the other roles and acting stuff that I've booked, but there's something special to be said about something that you create, because then when it sells or blows up, it's yours, you know? Which character do you most scenes with Walking Dead? Which I interact with most of the leads on the show, actually. I'm in a good chunk of the next season, so I've got some really cool stuff with all the leads. Pretty exciting. Who is your inspiration as an actor, actress? Right now, I would have to, I mean, I grew up, like I said earlier, Jim Carrey was my idol and kind of who I kind of tried to embody with my humor growing up and some of my stuff on stage. Nowadays, I love Tom Hardy, Edward Norton, Leonardo DiCaprio, Christian Bale. Some females would be, Angelina Jolie is amazing. Jennifer Lawrence is awesome. There's so many, I could go on and on. There's so many talented people. Yeah. I forget this actress's name, but the actress from the show Fleabag is phenomenal. I just watched that show and she's so good, and she wrote it and she created it. So there you go. How did you meet Brendan Martin? Brendan Martin and I met through a film that I did called Theater 9 a few years ago. And the film was based on the shootings in Colorado at the movie theater. He actually, the makeup artist on that show was dating Brendan. And the makeup artist on that show, as she was doing my makeup and getting me ready for my scene, we started talking, and I told her how I'm doing some music and stuff, and acting is, obviously was my main focus at the time, but I'm getting involved in music. And she said, "Oh my gosh, you have to meet my boyfriend." And I was like, okay, cool. Didn't think anything would come of it, but we ended up meeting and we hit it off right away, and we got in the studio, and it just was such an easy chemistry. It just, he just felt like a brother right away, and he's so talented. Check his stuff out too, Brendan Martin. He's got a new song that dropped yesterday as well called Control. So check out B Martin. But yeah, he's been helping me write and produce all this music that I've got coming out. How do you get a meeting to pitch a script or show you are writing? That's a good question, because I'm trying to figure that out as well. The show that we're developing right now, Tub Life, we are in the process of learning all of that. So, it can happen. I know that it can happen all different ways. Sometimes it's who you know, sometimes it's through networking, and you happen to know somebody who's got a connection to Warner Brothers and they can get you a meeting. It can happen in so many different ways. That's the thing. People ask me all the time, like, what should I do? How do I become an actor? If there was a playbook of steps, then everybody would be successful. There's not. You kind of just got to go to the areas that have the work, and figure it out. Get in classes, meet people, network, go to events, talk to people, film your own projects, What is the most embarrassing mistake you've witnessed on set? One time, there's probably more embarrassing than this, but this just came to my mind. On General Hospital, I played Dillon, and my girlfriend on the show, her name was Kiki, Haley Aaron. What up, Haley? She was vegetarian at the time, she wasn't eating red meat at the time, I think. And we had a scene where we ordered Chinese food, and we're doing like a cute little flirty thing, and I'm supposed to be feeding her some of the beef and broccoli. And she was like, "Rob, just don't actually feed me the beef. Get like the broccoli." I was like, "Okay, cool, yeah, done." And they pressed, they called action, and I was in the scene. I was focused on her and the moment, and I was a dummy, and I poked right for the beef and fed it to her. And of course, we're in the middle of the scene, so she eats it. And then the camera's cut, and she spits it out, and she's like, "I told you not to feed me the beef." So I felt so bad, but she's one of my best friends, so luckily she forgave me. What is the most embarrassing? Okay, I read that. Tips for getting into character. I mean, it depends on, it depends on your acting style, I guess. There's a lot of different acting techniques. That's why I recommend you guys all. Obviously, you're doing stuff here at the theater company, but the more teachers you can get around and experience, the better, I think. And the more actors you can be around, the better, because everybody's got a different style. I think, for me, all the different classes and all the different schools I've been to in my life, I've kind of combined a lot of the different techniques from different teachers, different things that I've learned, and kind of just made my own. But I think at the end of the day, however you get there, you want it to be truthful and you want it to be real, and you don't want it to feel like it's, just believe what you're doing, believe what you're saying, know your backstory. I think is very important. Know where your character's coming from, know where your character wants to go, know what your character's goals and weaknesses and likes are, know how your character feels about the other characters in the room. All of those things are really important, but I think how you get there is kind of up to you, is every actor's own choice. And I think you'll learn a ton of different techniques if you pursue this and you have different teachers. You'll learn so many techniques from Meisner to Stanislavski to, you'll have so many different things put in your head, and eventually you got to kind of throw it all away and go, okay, what works for me? What was it like singing Shawn Mendes, That You Better on episode? Well, I didn't sing Treat You Better. I sang Stitches, but it was awesome. I sang at the nurses' ball in General Hospital. They let me sing because they saw that I was kind of getting into music, and yeah, it was an amazing. That was one of my favorite episodes I got to film, actually. What are your favorite types of characters to play? Sorry, you asked me that earlier. I forgot to answer. I feel like I've gotten, at first, when I first started booking stuff, I was just getting the, like, douchebag, mean guy, jock, or cheating boyfriend, which is actually a lot of fun to play. But I was like, man, I think I'm a pretty nice guy in real life. Like, I hope I get to play something that's a little more like me at times. And Dillon on General Hospital was actually a really, really good guy, but still strong. He still stood up for his beliefs and what he stood for. And then Jack in Last 3 Days was a really good guy. I think I just want a character, whether it's a good guy or a bad guy. I just want there to be a dynamic. Like I want the character to have layers, basically, and you got to find partly that's a good script and development of the characters in the script, but that's also your job as an actor to find the layers in that character. But in a nutshell, I'll tell you right now, I just got to play kind of a bad guy in The Walking Dead. I played a good guy for the last several projects I've done, and I just got to play a bad guy again in Walking Dead, and it was a lot of fun. It really was a lot of fun. So I don't know, anything interesting with layers, dream co-star to act with? Oh boy, I don't even know. At some point I want to work with Jim Carrey for sure. Maybe Matthew McConaughey, Kate Winslet. If you could be on any TV show, what would it be? It would have been pretty cool to be on like a Game of Thrones type show or Breaking Bad. I think Fleabag was an amazing show I just watched. Schitt's Creek is really, really funny. I don't know which one I would want to be on. I'm hoping that there's one that's coming for me, because those are already over. Do you have ever been so moved by a performance you cried? Oh yeah, for sure. I've cried watching plays. I've cried watching musicals. I've cried watching movies and TV. I've cried watching reality TV. Yeah. So I think, a show or a movie or a play or anything that makes you cry or laugh or both, they're probably doing something right. they're probably being really truthful with whatever's happening in that scene. If you could tell your younger self anything, what would it be? Oh man, so many things. I would say, you got this. You're going to kill it. And it's going to be a journey, a marathon, not a sprint. So strap your boots on, buddy, because you're going into war. Yeah. What was it like filming last 3 days in Puncture? Last 3 days was awesome. I got to do a lot of my own stunts. I got to do gun work. I got to get run over by a car. You know, there was a lot of cool things that I got to do as the lead in an action movie that were really fun. And then Puncture was really cool. That's a short film we just did, and that should be, hopefully we're turning that into a feature film. But that was really cool too, because I got to play a little bit of a rougher character, kind of a gangster, gang member, and still a good guy, but you know, had a rougher life and just a little edgier for me to get to play him. I got to shave my head, and it was kind of cool. So I hope that movie happens. What are your favorite Broadway shows? Oh man. Well, let's see. The most recent one I saw, I think, was Dear Evan Hansen, and that was really cool. I liked that a lot. What else have I seen? I don't know if y'all remember Avenue Q with the puppets, but that was really funny. I mean, there's some classics that just are, you know, there's a reason they're classics, and yes, they're overdone, and yes, you know, it's like, how many times can you watch Grease? But hey, Grease is a great musical. The songs are awesome. You know, that's why it's iconic. So some of the classics like Grease and West Side Story, I mean, those are hits, you know. I'm really excited to see the In the Heights movie, because I've seen that on stage several times. So I'm excited to see that. I haven't seen the movie yet. What do you do to stay grounded in the industry? I mean, I think it's really important to be around like-minded people. I think, you know, like I said, I went to AMDA, and I was so grateful that I met other people, the other young people that were moving to this city from all over the world to pursue something. I mean, that takes a certain type of person to go pursue this type of challenging dream, you know? So I've some of those people are still my best friends today. You know, some of them are my roommates right now. And they've been my rock, you know, they've been my family out here. So I think wherever you are, you got to find a support system, you know, that's building you up, and that you're also building them up, and you're working on projects together. And, you know, when you're broke, or when you don't book the audition, you've got somebody to lean on, cry to, or whatever, you know? So that definitely helps me stay grounded. And then also the music stuff, you know, I think one of the reasons I've been really, really interested in getting more and more into my music is because it feels like mine. It feels like it's like I'm writing in a journal. You know, these songs are fun and poppy and dancey, but if you actually read the lyrics to this stuff that's coming out, it's, you know, it's kind of like what I'm thinking about or going through. So that's been really therapeutic for me as well. So I think if anybody on this face or Insta Live does really go pursue this, I think it's important to find like other hobbies besides just this career, because you're going to need an escape sometimes, you know. So find some other productive hobbies, whether it's hiking or the gym or surfing or music, or, you know, find some other things that keep you grounded, and then also find a support system and a group of people around you that is, you know, building you up. What's the craziest thing you would do in order to play a role? I mean, it would depend on the role, you know. If Spielberg hits me up and wants me to jump off a building, I'm doing it. If it's a movie that's not paying me anything and doesn't have health insurance or doesn't have insurance, I might pass on it, you know. So I think it depends on the project, but luckily we have a union that kind of protects us from people asking us to do stuff that's unsafe or whatever. But I've done some crazy things in auditions and stuff. I've had to do some crazy things in auditions, and I think you guys being in theater and on stage, that's really going to help if you do pursue this, whether it's in New York or in LA. Just being in front of an audience like that is I think a really helpful life skill. Even if you don't end up acting later on in life, to be able to be in front of that many people and perform and speak and release those nerves and get through it, I think it's been really helpful for me. What's the craziest thing? Okay, got that one. What do you like to do in your free time on set? My free time on set, I mean, I really like to get to know the crew and the cast members. I love going to the crafty station. Depending on what project you're working on, there'll be catering, or there'll be snacks, there'll be an ice cream truck, there'll be, they try to keep the actors and the crew happy with feeding us, and so that's always nice. I'm usually by the snack bar or something. It's been a little weird during COVID when I was working on The Walking Dead. There's a lot of restrictions right now with the pandemic, so there wasn't as much social interacting, but the food was really good, so I was happy about that. Crafty for life. Agreed. Love crafty. I agree. Have you watched any TV shows that your castmates from Walking Dead, Robion, have been on? Yeah, I've seen a few things actually. Julia Ormond, who plays my basically my Civic Republic boss or lieutenant colonel. She's been a star since the 80s, and she was in Legends of the Fall with Brad Pitt, and she's a legend. She is a legend. So I've seen a bunch of her stuff. Nico Tortelli, he was in that show Younger that just finished with Hilary Duff, and I've got a bunch of scenes with him, and I've definitely watched some of that, and they were all very, very talented. I felt really lucky to get to work with that crew, that cast and crew. All right, wrapping up soon. Any last minute questions? Ask me now or forever hold your peace. Is that right? Yeah. What's up, Nikki? I see some of my friends on here hopping on saying hi. Thanks, guys. Make sure everybody follows this Instagram account, Tippity Top TC. Everybody follow this. Support my friend Jackie and her theater company. Thank you guys for having me today. I appreciate it, and best of luck with all of y'all's future endeavors. You got this. If you want to do it, I hope I didn't scare anybody. If you want to pursue this, if you want to pursue being an artist, do what makes you happy, Do what makes you happy, because you only get one life. So go for it. And you can always change your mind. If you realize you don't want to do it anymore, cool. But at least you tried, All right. Love you guys. Peace.